town where the Chickamauga War was fought from 1775 till 1794. It was about a 20-year war. The old roadbed has eroded away probably 10 feet or more on the banks. We got gigantic trees that are probably 300 to 400 years old lining the old roadbed. The old roadbed runs into the Tennessee River, which is right in front of me. Doublehead's town is actually on both sides of the road. There's a clearing over here to the south, and there's a clearing over here to the north. It was part of Doublehead's town. There was some people refer to it as a motley mix of Chickamaugan people, and that means there was the Chickamauga faction of the Upper Creeks, the Chickamauga faction of the Lower Cherokees, Shawnee people, all lived in this village when they were fighting the Chickamauga War. And of course they were supported by the British, and the American colonies were fighting the British and taking advantage of the Indian lands. And this became part of the cession that was done by the Treaty of September the 16th, September the 18th, 1816, when this land was ceded by the Cherokee and Chickasaw people. The treaty was ratified in July 1817, and by September 1818, settlers started pouring into this area, and they had big, huge cotton plantations. The Brown's Ferry, which is just across the river, you'll be able to see if we walk on down, is actually operated by Captain John Brown, who was a high-flood Cherokee man. He left here around the Turkeytown Treaty and moved to Otali, O-T-A-L-I, which means end of mountain in Cherokee, and that became the town of Otala, Alabama. And after he left, he had a stepdaughter by the name of Betsy. She married Joshua Cox, and Cox established the ferry here for a while. And then when he sold the ferry, Brian M. Garner from Fayetteville, Tennessee, which was a land speculator, he moved in, bought the area, and he established Garner's Ferry. This ferry led from the Big Spring in Huntsville, Alabama, to Cortland, Alabama, in Lawrence County. And it was a major route that was used during the Civil War when General Nathan Bedford Forrest and 500 cavalrymen crossed the river, and they came right up this road to the Battle of Town Creek.
Let me get this big tree in the background. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but back there is another giant tree. So that's the original timber that would have been here when all of this was occurring. So you can get the perspective of how huge that timber is. Up there on High Road Path, that was a lot of young timber. So you see the size of the timber now that's still standing. That's the original timber that would have been here when all of these events were taking place, to give kind of an idea of the perspective. These timbers saw Davy Crockett, Sam Houston, Nathan Bedford Forrest, Doublehead, and among several others. And we are just north of the route of the Trail of Tears, of the railroad route. And so this parallels the history or the route of the Trail of Tears area, and that's why
That tower is 600-something feet tall. I think it's 625 feet tall. It never was used because of the radioactivity involved in it. The old road actually went out to the island, and there was a cemetery a white cemetery that was removed from that island. And then it crossed the river into Limestone County, like straight across where the nuclear power plant is located today.
I want to walk out here to the river's edge to give you a perspective where it was pointing, see if I can get that nuclear tower. If you can see it in the distance through the foliage there, that off in the distance is that nuclear tower.
And up the river where the electrical towers are crossing the river, That's at the mouth of Fox's Creek. And on the Limestone County side was Cow Forge Landing. On the south side of the river was Mousetown, which was a home of Black Fox, and Fox's Creek enters the river just to this side of those electrical towers, those big transmission lines up there. But Black Fox lived there, and he died in 1811. He's supposedly buried around the Cleveland Springs in the East Lawrence area in Lawrence County. Real historic area, and most people have no clue of the history of the area.